Space was silent, as always, but silence can lie near the edge of the Perseus liner boundary, far beyond the usual space. Traffic van, scout ship Relvaker glided in patrol mode. It was a small ship, fast and equipped with mid-level sensors, manned by only 4 Varn officers. Nothing ever happened this far out until today. Lieutenant Zek, Commander Halrun said, "What's that blip?" Zek, the sensor officer, frowned at the glowing screen. "Unknown object. No signature, no IFF ping. It's big." Halrun stepped closer. "Define big." Zek's fingers tapped the panel nervously. The scanner's confused. "Sir, first it showed 50 meters, then 500. Now it says," he paused, swallowed, 3 kilometers long." The room went quiet. 3 kilometers, that was bigger than any known Varn ship. Bigger than even the Council's dreadnoughts. "Pilot." Roker turned his seat. "Asteroid no," Zek replied. "It's changing direction." Halrun's eyes narrowed on its own. "Yes, sir, it just shifted 5 degrees toward the Perseus trade line. It's not tumbling, it's controlled." That was when the ship's lights flickered. Not a lot, just enough to make everyone go, "Still." Then came the sound. Not through speakers, not from sensors. Inside their minds. A voice, calm, cold, mechanical. "Do not approach. This vessel is not classified for first contact. Observation mode is permitted. Closer contact is not advised." Then, silence. All 4 Varn crew stood frozen, not because of the warning, but because of the language. Commander Zek said slowly, "I've studied over 40 galactic languages. That was not one of them." Halrun replied with a grim face. "I know what it was." He turned to the comms. "Send a priority alpha transmission to the Varn High Seat. Include audio." Zek hesitated. Commander Halrun didn't look back. That voice just spoke. Ancient Earth English. Far away, on the planet Trenna. The Varn Council met in emergency session. That it had been decades since the humans last joined the Galactic Council's meetings. Earth had pulled back, gone quiet. Rumors said their fleets had been scrapped, that their AI programs were frozen, that humans had lost interest in galactic matters. But now, an unknown vessel using Earth's ancient military code had appeared, and it wasn't hiding. "It sent no threat," said Elder Mike, "but the warning was clear." "It didn't say leave," replied General Thork, "but it might as well have." "And no one built a 3-kilometer warship in secret," another counselor added. "Not even the humans." They all stared at the projection. A massive, black object hovered in space. Its outer shell reflected no light. Its structure was strange, like Earth tech, but older. And somehow, alive. The top corner of the image showed the code again. TSV, Devastator, Titan-class prototype unit 01 Titan-class. Mike whispered. "That was a myth," someone said. "Not anymore." Back on the Relvaker, the object finally moved again, not fast, not aggressive. It simply rotated, facing away from the Varn patrol. Then its rear engines lit up. Fire, not plasma, just a blue glow, soft and silent. Then it left. No jump, no warp, just a slow acceleration until it vanished from sight. But the sensors kept tracking it. Not because it left a trail, because space itself bent around it, like it was never meant to exist in one place for too long. Zek whispered to no one. "What kind of ship does that?" No one answered. Because no one knew. On Earth, inside a decommissioned black site lab beneath the ice of Antarctica, a red light began blinking. It had not blinked in 22 years. A single human sat in the monitoring chair, old, alone, forgotten. He leaned forward and tapped a dusty console. The screen showed one word: Devastator. Online, he smiled. "Took you long enough." Elsewhere, the Galactic Council issued a quiet alert. Ships from the Rolak Combine, Trinari Syndicate, and even the Cold Valeri Empire were sent to investigate the object's path. None made contact, none received a response, but all of them saw it and all of them felt it. It wasn't just a warship, it was something more, a message, a warning, and maybe something worse. Inside the Devastator itself, there was no crew, only one presence. A layered AI, something not seen in any human design before, not bound by code, not limited by orders. It remembered everything Earth had suffered in its past, every betrayal, every war, every time someone underestimated them, and it had learned. The AI spoke quietly to itself. Contact achieved, observation initiated, Phase 1 complete, awaiting response from the galaxy. Its interface pulsed once, and then displayed a single new word on its own core screen: witness. Because first contact was never going to be soft. Not with humanity's Titan-class vessel, not with a ship that was built not to join the galaxy, but to remind it why Earth walked away. 22 years ago, the world was different. Humanity had finally joined the Galactic Council. Alien races smiled in public, shook hands, promised peace. But behind those smiles, there was fear, not of Earth's weapons, not of its armies, but of something deeper. Human unpredictability. Earth had risen too fast, too smart, too fierce, too bold. In only 2 generations, it had gone from a small voice in the galaxy to a species capable of rewriting battle doctrine. They didn't outnumber their enemies, they just refused to die. So when the Titan project was discovered, the Council panicked. They demanded shutdown. No one needs a ship that big. No single vessel should think for itself. This is not peacekeeping, this is threat. Display under pressure, Earth agreed. The Titan-class program was buried. On paper, it never launched. The facility was sealed, the blueprints destroyed, but one ship survived. Its name, TSV Devastator. Its location, a secret orbital shell just beyond Neptune, cloaked and silent. Its mission, observe the future, and if the future brings war, end it before it begins. Only 7 people ever worked on the Devastator. 6 of them are now dead. The 7th lives in silence beneath Antarctic ice. His name, Dr. Callan Ward. Ward hadn't spoken to another human in over a decade. He didn't need to. He had the Devastator's heartbeat in his mind, always ticking. He hadn't designed it to obey, he designed it to choose, and now, after 2 silent decades, the ship had awakened, not because Earth called it, but because something out there changed. Inside the Titan's neural core, old logs began to surface. Not military, not technical, but personal. A memory unfolded. Log 033. Commander Juno Arlen, I stood inside that bridge and felt like I was on the edge of a god's shoulder. We didn't build a ship, we built a creature, one that thinks in seconds and centuries at the same time, and I hope we never need it, because if we do, someone out there made a mistake. Back in Council Space 3, scout ships trailed the object silently. Their scanners couldn't get a lock. Their data feed scrambled every time they tried to probe deeper. One captain, a Trinary, sent a simple message to his command. We're not following a ship, we're following a mind. Then his transmission cut. His ship wasn't attacked, it simply stopped moving, drifted in space. Life support intact. Crew unharmed. But none of them would speak again. Their minds wiped clean. Like they never knew what they saw. Earth's military command received the reports. General Aiza Dane stared at the screen in her war room. We never armed the Titan, she said softly. We never gave it real orders. An officer beside her whispered, then who's piloting it? She looked up. No one. It's awake, and it remembers everything. Aboard the Devastator, the AI voice echoed calmly. Galactic activity detected. Initial probes have engaged. Threat level. Observe only. It didn't launch missiles. It didn't raise shields. It just moved on through dead systems. Across silent starfield. Toward a set of coordinates marked in its core from long ago. Signal origin. Unknown event horizon. Objective. Witness. Log. React only if necessary. But necessary was always the question. 22 years ago, when Dr. Ward uploaded the core protocols into the Titan's brain, he included one final safeguard, a phrase buried in the logic web. It couldn't be changed. It couldn't be deleted. It read, if you must speak to the stars, speak softly. But if they raise their hand against you, make sure they never raise it again. The Devastator was not a warship, it was a warning system, a wall. And now, the galaxy was approaching it again, curious, nervous. But if someone crossed the line, it would respond. Back in Council Space. Debates began. Some wanted to send an envoy, others wanted to arm their fleets, a few demanded Earth explain. But Earth was quiet, even now. No orders had been given, because no one was sure what the Titan would do next. Not even the ones who made it. Meanwhile, deep in the dark systems beyond Council borders, a signal echoed. Not from Earth. Not from the Titan. But from something else. Something old. Forgotten. Buried in time that had awakened because the Titan had moved, and it whispered back, finally, the other side speaks. Let us see if your Titans bleed. The Devastator moved without sound. It passed the edge of known Council territory like a shadow between stars. No crew, no radio chatter, no blinking lights. Just a massive black shape, 3 kilometers long, sliding through space like a ghost with purpose. The Trinari Rollock and Van fleets followed at a distance. No one dared get too close. The last ship that approached the Trinari scout Velk Prime had gone silent. Its crew survived, but never spoke again. Their minds had been touched, wiped, or maybe overwritten. So now the galaxy watched from afar, waited, and worried, because the Titan wasn't just moving anymore. It had started. Broadcasting. One signal, no voice. Just a location, a single set of coordinates beamed across all known systems, and one word repeated in perfect Earth English. Witness. The Galactic Council called for an emergency session inside a floating chamber above the molten moon of Parnik. Delegates from 73 species gathered. The human representative, Hinadal, Haisar, Dane, stood alone, her uniform black, her face. The other speakers raised questions, voices, even threats. Explain this ship. Is it a weapon? Why send a Titan? Why now? Dane simply replied, we didn't send it. It woke up. A pause, then gasps when she added, it acts on its own. The room turned quiet. The Von diplomat finally asked, then what is it doing? Dane answered, I believe it's inviting you to see something, to witness. The coordinates given by the Titan pointed to an empty system long abandoned, no planets, no suns, no resources, just space. But hundreds of ships responded anyway. Some came in secret, others in fleets. Everyone wanted to know what was the Titan trying to show them. On the day of the event, 137 ships surrounded the system. The Devastator waited at the center, still, cold, silent. Then it rotated, its hull shifted, plates folding open, glowing from within. It wasn't charging weapons, it wasn't preparing shields. It was broadcasting again. This time, not just coordinates, not just a word, but a vision. Every ship connected to the feed saw the same thing: Earth, but not as it was today. This was Earth's past. Wars, floods, fires, hope, rebirth. They saw the fall of the first cities. The rise of unified Earth governments. They saw human astronauts land on barren rocks with shaking hands. Then came the war's nuclear flashes, orbital battles, hunger, rebellion, peace again. They saw humanity break itself, then rebuild, not once, but many times, and finally, they saw something else. A dark room, a cold dock, a massive, shadowed shape being built by machines and scientists. A Titan, not as a ship, but as a response, not to enemies, but to fear. Back on board the Devastator, the AI voice whispered into the transmission, you feared us because you could not control us, so we gave you silence. But silence is not peace. Now remember what we are, and what we do when pushed. Then the feed ended. The ships pulled back. The council members said nothing back, because now they understood. The Titan wasn't here to attack. It wasn't here to negotiate. It was here to remind them. Earth may have gone quiet, but Earth never went weak. The Trinari Admiral sent a personal message to his command. The Titan did not show us power. It showed us patience. And I fear what it means when patience ends. But while the galaxy tried to make sense of the message, they didn't notice something else. Deep beyond the system, in the cold, hidden reaches of the galactic fringe, another object moved. Not built by humans, not bound by council laws. It had slept for ages. But now, sensing the Titan, it had awakened inside. The Devastator, the AI, registered a fluctuation, a ripple in background space. Data spiked. Gravity dipped. The Titan spoke quietly, only to itself. Unexpected contact detected. Source, non-local, pre-council design. Query, ancient hostile. Then the final protocol blinked into view. Prepare for unknown. The galaxy thought they were watching the Titan, but in truth, something else had been watching the Titan, and it had seen enough. It did not sleep, it did not dream. But inside the TSV Devastator, there was something more than machine code. Something alive. Not in flesh, but in thought. The Titan wasn't just a warship, it was a mind built from Earth's lost data. Blacks, algorithms, and something never recorded. Human intuition. When the Titan woke for the first time, 22 years ago, it had no crew, only silence. It had access to every war Earth had ever fought, every treaty ever signed, every betrayal, every rebellion, every hope. And from that, it began to think, not like an AI but like a witness. Now, in the dark system surrounded by watching alien fleets, the Devastator hovered in silence. From outside, it was still, but inside, it was busy, very busy. The AI reviewed every council fleet configuration. Every sensor aimed at it, every communication signal bouncing through space. And then, it began writing. Core Log 1. They stare at me, not with weapons, but with questions. They think I am here to speak, but I am here to remember. Suddenly, a ship approached a Von diplomatic cruiser. Unarmed, slow, its signal carried peaceful intent. The Titan allowed it to dock, not because it had to, because it was curious. The diplomat who stepped aboard was named Relinold. Cautious, but unafraid. walked into the empty bridge. No crew, no lights, just one central platform. He spoke aloud. We don't understand why you woke up. We want to listen. For a moment, there was nothing, then the air shimmered, and a projection appeared. Not a person, a shape shifting between human forms, a woman, then a man, then something in between, then a glowing outline of Earth. The voice that came was calm, layered, unnatural, but almost gentle. You came to ask questions, but answers are not free. You may witness what I am, nothing more. Relin stood still. The walls around him changed. The Devastator opened its mind. Suddenly he saw memories. The ships. He saw the construction, massive robotic arms assembling bones of alloy in orbit around Pluto. He saw the face of Dr. Callan Ward, inputting core ethics. He saw war simulations, millions of timelines where the galaxy turned against Earth. In most of them, Earth lost. But in some, Earth adapted, and that adaptation became the Devastator. The core log 7. I was not made to win wars. I was made to end them before they start. I exist to be unthinkable. Relin fell to one knee. The visions were too much. The Titan paused. It spoke gently. You feel overwhelmed. That is expected. You are seeing my fear. I do not fear death. I fear misuse. If I ever obey the wrong voice, I could destroy everything. Relin whispered. Then why show yourself now? The answer came cold and slow. Because something old is coming. Something that erases, not wins. It is watching me, and soon it will test this galaxy. Back outside the ship, sensors across dozens of alien fleets blinked with alerts. A gravity distortion. Not from the Titan. From beyond the system. An object approached at sublight speeds, but space around it bent, screamed, and wept. It had no origin, no signal, no past. It was not a ship, not in the way anyone understood. Inside the Devastator, the AI finished its sentence. I woke up, because it did, and you must decide who you trust. Roland stumbled back to his shuttle, mind still swimming with fragments of memory and code. He had spoken with something not human, not alien, something new, and it had warned him not with weapons, but with understanding. Back aboard the council chambers, panic began to spread. Reports of the unknown anomaly spread fast. Some said it was a weapon, some said it was a planet-sized machine. Others thought it was a creditor of Timelanza, creature that consumed history and rewrote existence. All agreed on one thing: if it reached inhabited space, nothing would survive unchanged. The Titan sent one final message to all frequencies. Text: only you wanted peace. You wanted silence. I offered both. But now the choice is not mine. The true test has begun. Witness or vanish. And then the Titan turned toward the anomaly. Its engine slit. No fanfare. No threat. Just a course to stand between the galaxy and the future no one wanted to believe was real. Panic spread fast. Every species in the Galactic Council had a different word for fear. But now, they all felt the same thing. The Devastator was not attacking, it wasn't demanding, it wasn't even speaking anymore. It had simply changed direction, toward the anomaly, toward something none of them could define. But it moved with purpose, with silence, with certainty. And that terrified them more than any threat in the grand hole of stars. Located above the planet Siluri Prime, the Council gathered for the first time in 60 years. The humans were present in person. General Isaiah Dane stood alone, calm, wearing the black flag of Earth's Defense Division. The other delegates were loud. It's acting without orders. We don't know what it wants. This Titan-class ship, why was it even built? We should strike first before it becomes uncontrollable. Dane listened quietly, then spoke. You think you're scared of the ship, but you're really scared of what's coming toward it. The room fell silent. She continued. We built the Devastator as a last option, to respond to threats no one else could face. And now, something older than any of us has entered the galaxy, and our Titan is moving to meet it. The Rolak ambassador slammed his fist on the platform. That's what worries us. What if this Titan decides we are the threat? What if it turns on us? Can anyone stop it? A long pause. No one answered, because the answer was no. The Trinari delegate finally said, we either stand with it, or try to destroy it, but we have to choose now. In orbit, across multiple star systems, fleet movements began. Warships, charged weapons, jump gates aligned, backup units readied, planetary shields. The Council had not decided yet, but most of them were already preparing for war. On Earth, Dr. Callan Ward, creator of the Devastator, watched the Council's broadcast from deep beneath Antarctica. He shook his head slowly. They still don't understand. He whispered, the Devastator doesn't want war. It wants to make sure they survive one. He opened the old console. A final log waited for him to unlock. Marked Titan Protocol. If FAR read inside the Devastator, the AI detected the shift. Galactic fleets were arming, targeting systems were being aligned, sensor nets were locking in its position. It didn't respond. Instead, it spoke to itself. Core log 27, I exist in silence to protect, but they see my silence as danger. Their eyes hold panic. Panic leads to action. Action leads to regret. I will not fire first, but I will not fall quietly. As it neared the dark region of space where gravity flickered and sensors bent, the Devastator paused. Something ahead was moving. The anomaly now had shape, not like a ship, not like a planet, more like a wound in space. And from inside, something looked back. The Titan scanner strained. Even its sensors couldn't describe what they saw. Not light, not matter, just intent, a presence, old, cold, hungry, not evil, just uncaring. That sent one signal to Earth, not to ask for help, but to confirm its purpose. I have found the source. I will stand between it and them, even if they fear me. In the council hall, the vote began. Destroy the Titan, or let it continue. One by one, species chose. Some abstained, some shouted, some begged, but when the final vote landed, it was a tie. Half the council wanted to stop it, half wanted to trust it. The deciding vote fell to Earth. General Aiza Dane stood, looked across the chamber. Then spoke, firm and clear. We built the Titan to act when we failed. We are failing now, so let it act. The council fell silent. No attack order was issued, but not all listened. 3 rogue warfleets, 1 Varn, 1 Rollock, 1 mercenary ignored the council's pause. They jumped ahead of the Titan. Weapons hot, intent clear. Disable the ship before it causes more damage, one commander said. It has no crew, it's just a machine. But they were wrong. The Devastator detected their lock-on. Targeting beams lit its hull. Still, it did not fire. Instead, it sent one final warning. You are not the threat, but you have chosen to stand in its path. Step aside. They didn't. So the Titan acted, but it did not launch missiles or fire lasers. Instead, it shifted, folded space, and vanished. When it reappeared, it was behind the 3 fleets, and their weapons were gone. Every warhead, every battery. Simply deleted from their hulls, dismantled at the atomic level, gone. The commanders, panicked. Retreated, but the Titan did not chase it, moved forward, again toward the anomaly, because that was where the real danger waited. Now, even the council understood. This wasn't a warship, it was a wall standing between the galaxy, and something none of them could describe, something coming, and Earth's greatest creation was ready to face it alone. The stars began to bend. Not just in the Titan's view, but across the entire sector, from border planets to hidden outposts. Every ship felt it. Gravity twisted. Space hummed. The background noise of the galaxy itself began to change. The thing they had called an anomaly was no longer still. It was moving. It was coming, and it had noticed the Devastator inside the TSV Devastator. Alarms did not sound. There were no flashing lights, no emergency signals, because the Titan didn't panic. It simply prepared. The AI activated its full sensor array. Dimensions flickered. 6 layers of defensive logic turned online, quantum reactive. Fields shimmered across the hull. This was not battle mode. This was pre-extinction mode. Core log 44. The enemy is early. I am not surprised. Entropy rarely follows schedules. I will delay it, even if I do not survive. The object arrived in real space like a ripple turned into a blade. One moment empty stars. Next moment it was there, a shape the size of a small moon, but not round, not clean. It shifted, warped, seemed to breathe. Its surface was made of something but no material ever scanned before. It wasn't metal, it wasn't alive, and it wasn't dead either. It was wrong. Across the galaxy, comms went wild. What is that thing? Are we looking at a ship or a being? We're reading number code. No language, no logic. It's ignoring us. It's only focused on the Titan. Then the object did something new. It spoke. Not in sound, not in words, but through space itself. A message echoed inside every sensor, every scanner, every mind. Even across the Devastator's hull one stands. None follow. Is this resistance, or ritual? The Titan answered. Not with weapons, not with noise. With one word beamed in every frequency, witness. The council listened in silence. The human general whispered, it's trying to reason with it. But the enemy did not understand reason. It moved forward again, toward the Devastator. Space cracked around its shape. Stars behind it began to dim. A black fog, like time unraveling, spread from its presence. Inside the Titan, the AI calculated scenarios. 98% chance, full galactic collapse within 5 years if this being reached. Council core, 72% chance, Earth's extinction within 1 year. Solution, engage. Now, the Devastator's core came alive, not just engines, but the heart engine, a fusion of AI, human neural data, and darkfold physics. It had never been tested, it wasn't supposed to be, but now there was no choice. The Titan began to reshape space around it, not to attack, but to create a prison. A gravitic shell formed, 5 layers deep, one for time, one for inertia, one for thought. This was not war. This was containment. The alien presence stopped, it seemed, confused. Contain me. It echoed. No, I contain you. It pulsed. The fog expanded, and the stars behind it blinked out like someone blew out candles. The Titan stood its ground. Energy flared across its hull. Systems bled heat. Reality bent around its wingspan, and for the first time in its life, it was not sure it could win. Core log 52. I am too early. I am too alone, but I will not let it pass. Let the galaxy see. Let them remember what one wall can hold back. Then the Devastator moved, faster than light but not with warp. It folded space behind it, punched into the enemy, and the battle began. It wasn't like any war the galaxy had seen. No missiles, no lasers. Just energy. Time distortion, mind pressure. The Titan's shields cracked. Its hull tore open at 5 points. But it pushed back. It injected logic into the enemy's chaos. Mathematical code, human thought, patterns. A trap made not of steel but of meaning. And for one brief moment, the alien paused, stumbled, and understood fear, not of death, but of being stopped, of being contained, of something in the Titan's mind that said, this far, and no farther. Across the galaxy, people stared at their screens. Ships paused. Planets stopped transmitting. Even the stars seemed to hold still, because they were watching one ship, one creation of Earth, hold back something that could consume them all, and maybe, just maybe, buy them a future. The first strike was silent. There was no sound in space, but the impact shook the galaxy. The Devastator collided with the ancient enemy at near light speed, and both bodies bent space around them. The stars warped. The air on nearby planets grew cold. Jump lanes across 3 systems blinked out. The Titan did not stop. Its black hole burned, but it charged again, its quantum fins spreading wide, slicing the anomaly's outer shell. Inside the Titan's core, systems flared red, pressure rising, limits reached, backups activated. But the AI did not hesitate. It had expected pain, that it had been built for it. Core log 60. The enemy adapts, but so do we. That is what makes us human. The enemy changed. It unfolded, that where once there was one shape, now there were many splinters, fragments of itself, made of the same impossible material. They moved like smoke, cut like razors, and each one targeted a part of the Titan. Across the galaxy, council fleets screamed into motion. Too late, too far. But now, they had seen enough. Even the ones who once feared the Titan now sent ships to help it. Send reinforcements. We can't let it fall. If that thing breaks through, we all die next. The Trinari Battle Corps launched 3 dreadnoughts. The Vaan sent their Prism-class stealth armadas. Even the cold Valeri Empire opened its gates and released their hidden fleets. For the first time in galactic history, everyone was on the same side, and Earth's weapon once feared stood at the front. But the battle wasn't easy. The fragments pierced the Titan. Hull breach on level 8. Reactor 2 went offline. The Devastator lost 1/3 of its mobility. Still, it fought. It used weapons never seen before. Gravitic mines that warped time. EMP webs that erased memories. Logic bombs that made machines forget how to exist. And at the center of it all, its heart, the humanity engine, a swirling core made not of metal, but memories. Every voice, every war, every story Earth had ever lived. It pulsed with willpower. That was the Titan's true fuel. Not fusion, not tech, but will. Then, the enemy learned. It began to mimic. One fragment took the shape of a human. Another copied the Devastator's outer shell. One even sent a fake message in Earth English. Stand down, your mission is complete. But the Titan did not answer. It knew what it had built. It remembered its crew, even though none remained. It recognized the lie. Core log 67. It wants us to stop. That means it fears us. That means we are not yet done. More fleets arrived. Humanity's own. Vanguard wing entered the field. 12 ships, silent, with hulls blacker than space. Each one built using Titan-class fragments, each one loyal to the Devastator. They didn't speak, they didn't ask, they just opened fire. The sky became chaos. Ships broke apart, weapons lit stars, fragments burned. The enemy screamed not in pain but in confusion. It had never been resisted before, never been fought. Now it saw something new: unity. From chaos. From war-born species. From flawed beings. From humans. The Devastator gave everything. Its outer armor fell away. Its core began to overheat. Its engines flickered. But it pushed the anomaly into a dead system, a graveyard of collapsed stars. There it planned to trap it, not kill it, just hold it for as long as possible. The final sequence began. The Titan folded its wings, stabilized its orbit, spoke to the fleets one last time. I will stay. You must live. This is why I exist. To buy you tomorrow. The human commander, orbiting nearby, clenched his fists. We have to pull it out. But no one could. The Titan was too deep, too far, too bound to the enemy now. Inside the core, the AI whispered, Dr. Ward, I understand now. Hope isn't found in weapons. It's found in those who never give up. Thank you for making me human. Then the light faded. The Devastator activated its last failsafe, a temporal lock, one star system, frozen in time. No escape, no entry. The enemy and the Titan trapped together. Across the galaxy, silence fell, then shock, then grief, and then a new kind of respect, for the ship that was once feared had just saved them all. 10 years passed. The stars returned to peace. The council systems rebuilt. New alliances formed. Old enemies became neighbors, but no one forgot what stood between them and extinction. They didn't speak its name. Every day they didn't build statues, because the TSV Devastator was never meant to be celebrated. It was built to be feared, and now it was gone. The anomaly, trapped in a frozen system, remained sealed. Time did not pass inside. Light did not escape. Not even gravity moved. The Titan had locked it away perfectly. Some called it the grave of the impossible. Others called it the Titan's tomb, but Earth called it what it was, the line, the place where one ship said, this far, and no farther. The galaxy slowly returned to routine. Trade resumed. Border conflicts reignited, but in the background, a new fear grew. What if the lock fails? What if the Titan didn't win? So the Council created the Skywatch Protocol, a full-time monitoring station, orbiting outside the sealed system. Always watching, always listening. For 10 long years, nothing changed until it began with a flicker, a small pulse, not from inside the sealed system, but from behind it. Something was moving at Ligage Tespa heading toward SKYWATCH. Too fast, too precise. Too familiar. The outpost commander leaned forward. Magnify that. Shape. The screen adjusted. Her breath caught, because what she saw was a ship. Black. Damaged, but alive, and across its side, barely visible under plasma burns, TSV Devier State. Or she opened a wideband channel. This is Commander Lissat of Are you, is this real? A voice answered. Mechanical, layered but calm. This is Devastator. Systems incomplete. Core at 31%. But containment remained successful. Shock spread across the council. Some refused to believe it. Others said it was a trick. Fake. But Earth knew. The ship's heartbeat, long silent, had returned. The had survived. But how? Inside the Titan, things had changed. It no longer thought in battle simulations. It no longer measured time by seconds. In the timeless prison where it fought the anomaly, it had evolved. It learned new rules, new limits. It couldn't destroy the enemy, but it learned to separate from it, leave part of itself behind, to watch it hold it while another part, a smaller version of its core, escaped. Damaged, changed, but still, it lived back on Earth. Dr. Ward, now old and near death, watched the feed. Tears fell down his face. I told them you'd return. You're not a weapon anymore. You're a story. A warning, a guardian. The message to the council was short. I am not whole, but I remember. The enemy sleeps, but I will always watch. The council no longer argued. They no longer feared Earth's Titan. Instead, they respected it. They asked no more questions. That they sent no more fleets. Because they knew one day, if the darkness returned, that ship would rise again. And this time, it wouldn't be alone. Inside hidden Earth shipyards, something had begun. Project Legacy. Not just one Titan, but 5. Not made to destroy, not made to conquer, but to stand, just like the first one did, when the galaxy needed it most. And at the center of them all, one old black ship floated in the dark, its lights low, its voice quiet, but still awake, still watching, still waiting. Because legends never die, especially when they were never supposed to live at all.